What's up, everyone? So I want to talk about a message that I channeled, and this is for the men out there who do still struggle with their energy and how they can get that energy back online. So what I want to talk about today is a man can provide for his family and everything, remain loyal to his wife, raise his children, build a successful career, and everything all encompassing. He can, he looks responsible on the outside while quietly there is a collapse inside. And he can have good intentions, yet repeatedly he finds himself watching porn, scrolling for hours, emotionally shutting down, not seeking validation online, or acting in ways that's not fully who he is. It's not his essence. And when this happens, he usually tells himself, I need more discipline, or I need to control my thoughts, and I need to stop being weak. But what if the problem, and I was going through this myself, is it's not a lack of discipline. The real problem is that your mind, your heart, your body is not in alignment with, there's no more communication between all of this. So no more heart, mind, body connection, because the mind becomes disconnected from the heart, and a man does not lose intelligence from this. So today I want to show you how to begin bridging the gap. So there is a real difference between being alive and being awake. So you can wake up, you can go to work, complete your responsibilities, speak to people, exercise, eat, sleep, shit, everything, and repeat the same cycle every day without ever becoming fully conscious of what is actually driving you in that moment. So you believe you're making rational decisions in your life, but many of your decisions, they come from unconscious emotional patterns, unresolved pain, nervous system conditioning, and desires that you have never learned to understand or go beneath the surface with. So this is why a man consciously says, I'm never doing this again. And I was in this spot. I was like, I'm never doing porn again. I'm never doing it. And then what would happen in 2 days? I would be looking at porn again at the same time and acting out, and it would just be a constant cycle. So, but another part of him is running the behavior. There's a behavior part of you running. And healing does not only involve changing thought. Okay, we all talk about, change your thoughts, just be positive. But it really involves understanding the whole person, the ego, the body, the unconscious mind, the emotions, the soul, the deeper states of consciousness that connects it all. It has to be all encompassing in order for you to truly heal. So you're not simply a brain controlling a body. You're an entire living organism, an ecosystem. And when one part of that system becomes disconnected, another part begins to try to compensate for that. So your mind is a tool. It's not your master. So the mind is incredibly powerful. We've only scratched the surface of what we can do to truly heal. It allows you to analyze, strategize, protect yourself, anticipate danger, solve complex problems. But the mind is not designed to lead your entire existence by itself. Many men live exclusively from the neck up. So logically, we have to do this. We have to think about doing, what's the next thing we have to do? Oh, but we have to take care of that. Next thing, this. We intellectualize every wound. We analyze every emotion. We analyze and we analyze and we analyze. They explain why they're angry instead of feeling what is beneath the anger. They explain why the relationship is failing instead of asking what their heart is withholding, what is going on right here. They try to think their way out of compulsive behaviors that are rooted in body and unconscious mind. So what happens now? This creates an internal split, and the mind says one thing, but the heart quietly asks for another, asks for connection, and the soul's asking for a meaning behind it all. And when these parts are pulling in different directions, a man experiences anxiety, confusion, depression, numbness, resentment, compulsion. He may say, I don't know why I keep doing this. But the behavior isn't random. It's not a random thing. It's communication. And porn addiction, for example, that was my issue. It's not always simply about sex. Porn can become a substitute for intimacy, for avoidance, a substitute for excitement, a substitute for feeling powerful, wanted, free, and alive, and liberating. The mind sees an image on a screen, but beneath the surface, the nervous system may be seeking relief from stress and shame, loneliness, boredom, or powerlessness, and you cannot permanently heal that pattern by fighting the image alone. You must understand the need underneath it. The compulsion is the surface behavior, and it's anything with seeking validation from someone, going on apps, scrolling on apps, going on Twitter and scrolling for hours, talking to someone you shouldn't be talking to an ex you shouldn't be talking to. There's a bigger problem underneath, and we have to get to the root of it. So the disconnection is the root. So what does it mean to have a pure heart? And it's always about the heart. It's always about coming back to the heart. When I speak about having a pure heart, I do not mean being perfect. There is no such thing as being perfect. I do not mean becoming passive. I do not mean allowing people to disrespect you because you want to appear loving. A pure heart is undivided heart. So it is a heart that is no longer controlled by hidden resentment, manipulation, fear, shame, or the constant need of approval. It's the ability to love without abandoning yourself. It's they give their energy to everyone around them. So whoever you meet, you stay connected to your heart, no matter who the person is. Okay? Now, for example, this person might have done you wrong in the past, but the whole thing about healing is forgiving. I understand some people can't forgive others, but it's to truly just stay present with yourself and not get reactive. And, the men believe that being a good father, good husband, son, a provider means constantly placing themselves last. And I see this all the time with men who are fathers. They place themselves last, and the woman takes control with the kid. And this can't happen. The father must integrate themselves with the father, or with the mother and the son, instead of just being someone who's there, who's a provider, provides kids and money and the whole thing. It's got to be a whole encompassing soul, heart, mind, body connection with the child, with the mother. So these men, they solve problems, they provide financially, but they remain dependable. But internally, there's a depletion going on. So they stop honoring their boundaries, they lack boundaries, they stop exploring their purpose, they stop developing their physical, emotional, sexual, and spiritual power. And then one day the energy they have suppressed begins escaping sideways. So it may come out as anger, infidelity, substance abuse, emotional withdrawal is a big one, and overworking, compulsive eating, compulsive this, compulsive that. A bunch of things do come up in this situation, and I've seen it and I've been through it, or a quiet resentment towards the very people they claim to love. So this does not mean that you lack love, does not mean that at all. Sometimes it means the man has never learned how to include himself inside his own love. So a man can deeply love his family while unconsciously abandoning his own essence. That is not sustainable love. That is self-erasure disguised as responsibility. So love requires boundaries, and this is very important. When people hear this statement, all there is love, they sometimes interpret as though love means accepting everything. But genuine love requires discernment, judgment. Love has boundaries. Love says yes when the answer is yes. Love says no when the answer is no. Love does not require you to betray yourself to maintain peace. So when I was in a relationship with my ex, when I said no, it was always a push from my ex. There needed to be a push, and there had to be a push, and that's not respecting boundaries. I had boundaries. There was no respect for that. There needs to be an equal street of boundaries with love. A sovereign boundary is not a wall built from fear. So it is a clear expression of what you value, what you accept, and what you are responsible for. So a man without boundaries often becomes controlled by guilt. He may believe he's being kind, but internally he's building up resentment. So he may avoid difficult conversations because he does not want conflict. But the conflict does not disappear. It moves inside of him. This is where the heart and the mind must work together. The heart reveals what's true. The mind helps you communicate and act upon both. The heart, without the mind, can become an impulsive or a naive one. So trust me, I have been there with the naive issue. I have gotten screwed by people, and because I did not have good boundaries. Now I do. Now I have really good discernment, and this is what I help men with as well. The mind without the heart can become cold, controlling, and disconnected. But when the two become integrated, a man begins acting from compassion and clarity. He can remain loving without being weak. He can remain powerful without becoming destructive. He can tell the truth without using the truth as a weapon. That is the power of coming back to your heart. It's emotional sovereignty. So your energy centers are all communicating with you all the time. Every human being carries circulating energy throughout their body. Different traditions describe this as chakras, meridians, subtle energy systems, automatic nervous systems, emotional patterns, somatic awareness. Coming back to myself, I am very somatically aware. There are times where I'm very sensitive and I can feel pain all over my body, and I'm able to identify which part of myself is out of alignment, and then I can intentionally come back to my heart and heal that part of myself, and the pain goes away, and I'm able to focus on that part of myself and come back to the heart. It's always the heart that will always help you heal. But again, it's tough to get there. Usually we need guidance to get there. This is what I help men with. And the language changes. Like, the central observation remains clear. Your mental, emotional, and physical and spiritual states influence one another. They all influence one another. So think about what happens when you feel afraid. Your breathing changes, your chest tightens, your stomach contracts, your attention narrows, your thoughts become defensive. Now think about sexual energy. Sexual energy is not about physical release. It contains creativity, it's drive, it's this ambition. It's like what you're going to take action on, and it's about intimacy and desire to merge with this thing we call life and everything around us. But when this energy becomes disconnected from the heart, like what happened to me, it turned into this massive compulsive issue, and it was constant. It becomes a constant issue. It takes over your life, and the person no longer seeks connection. He seeks this intensity, this thrill, and he is not necessarily pursuing pleasure. He may be escaping discomfort, but this is why immediately releasing sexual energy whenever discomfort appears, it can reinforce this unconscious behavior. So the body begins learning, when I feel stress, I escape. When I feel lonely, I consume. When I feel rejected, I numb myself. When I feel powerless, I create a temporary fantasy of power. Healing begins when you interrupt that circuit, not by shaming the desire, but by becoming curious about it. You breathe, you notice where the energy is concentrated, you ask, what am I actually feeling right now? What happened to this urge? What happened before this urge appeared? What did this part of me believe? What do I need, like, in this moment? Can I stay present without immediately obeying the impulse? That pause, this is where your consciousness starts coming online. It takes practice. It takes a lot of practice, but you can get there quicker if you have someone guiding you. So consciousness opens when the heart becomes clear. A clear heart does not mean you feel pain, jealousy, anger, grief, or desire. It means you stop hiding those experiences from yourself. So many men, we wear masks. The mask once protected us. The strong man, the successful man, the funny man, the spiritual man, the evolved one, the provider, the man who never needs help, the man who always has the answer. These identities are not necessarily false, but they become masks when you use them to avoid the parts of yourself that feel afraid, ashamed, lonely, confused, or inferior to others. You cannot become whole by destroying those wounded parts. You become whole by bringing them into the relationship with the rest of you. This is the essence of integration. Instead of saying, I hate the part of me that watches porn, you have to ask yourself, what is this part attempting to do for me? Instead of saying, I need to kill my ego, you have to ask, what is my ego trying to protect? Instead of saying I should not feel angry, ask yourself, what is my boundary? What boundary is my anger revealing? Instead of saying I am weak because I feel grief, you ask, what does this grief show me that I deeply love? Your emotions are not always instructions, but they are information. And when the mind learns to listen to the heart without becoming controlled by every emotion, the system begins reorganizing. You no longer need to escape yourself as often because you're finally willing to meet yourself. So here's a practice to bridge the gap. You can bring this today. I want you to place one hand over your heart, over your chest, and cover your lower abdomen. Take a slow, deep breath through your nose. What is your mind saying? And maybe it says, I deserve this. No one cares, this and that. I need relief. What is my body feeling right now? Pressure. Is there restlessness in your hands and your feet? Emptiness in the stomach. Are you feeling hungry, tired? What is my heart asking right now? Reassurance, forgiveness, and boundaries. Or boundaries. Are you having trouble with boundaries right now? What action aligns with your deepest self? And that means your entire life can change. It means you might not be in the right job. You might not be in the right marriage. You might not be with the right girlfriend, or it could be a myriad of things. But what's the action that you need to take right now next? The next honest action. Maybe you take a walk. Think about it. But feel it too. You have to feel and think. Maybe you call someone. Maybe you speak you're honestly with your partner. Maybe you speak honestly with yourself, because we all lie to ourselves, so it's time to speak honestly about yourself. Maybe you simply remain with the discomfort for 5 minutes without escaping, which is very powerful. Every time you do this, you strengthen the bridge between conscious awareness and the parts of you that previously operated in darkness. So this is how you regain your power, by becoming more present with yourself. So the world does not need more men who perform strength while privately falling apart. It needs integrated men. Men whose minds serve truth rather than fear. Men whose hearts remain open without becoming self-abandoning. Men who understand their sexual energy instead of becoming controlled by it or ashamed by it, because it's a beautiful thing, this type of energy. Men who establish boundaries without closing themselves to love. Men who stop hiding behind masks and begin living from their deeper essence. Your family does not need what you provide. And if they do, and if they only rely on you to provide, then maybe it's not the best alignment for you. They need presence. And 99% of families out there, and wives and girlfriends, they need presence. And your children do not only learn from what you tell them, they learn from the relationship you have with yourself. When you come back to your heart, your child will be able to feel this. Your emotions are not proof that you're weak. They may be a signal that parts of you are ready to come back into the relationship. The mind cannot complete that journey alone. So the body cannot complete it alone. The path is integration. It's mind, it's heart, it's body. It's working together. It's soul. That's where consciousness starts waking up. And this is where a man stops living unconsciously, and that is where he becomes returning home. So if this message speaks to a part that knows you're ready to stop living behind the masks, please subscribe to my channel and follow me on TikTok as well. My account is called Peak Potential Insights, and I talk about the same stuff to help men. And I help men one-on-one coaching, and I've helped men overcome certain issues, and I've helped them get to the bottom of what's going on with them and figure out where they can find and truly understand what their energy is trying to tell them and how they can move forward with that, whether it's in a relationship or whether it's just with themselves, and how they can reorganize their day. I would love to know your thoughts. Please give it a comment integration if you understand this and you want to learn more about this. I would love to hear your thoughts, and that's all I had today.